Welcome everybody to my show, sunny Las Vegas. I haven't been recording in about a week. Being been very active, getting stuff listed, clearing out my office. Something I've been talking about for a while, and I feel like I'm repeating myself, and I hate doing that because I want to have new information, new updates, and today I have that along with progress with what I'm working on. So thank you for joining me. I was invited to join Jride Flips on a live podcast or podcast together. And I've been doing lives for several years now on my own on Thursdays. And since I haven't been too active here on YouTube for a week now, for all good reasons, for very good reasons, still busy in the reseller world, Jay Wright invited me and we're working on a podcast. And due to some approvals on Google. It finally got approved. We want to have it videos out on Monday, every Monday to kick off the weekend. What's going on, Marty? Welcome. Um, or not the weekend, to kick off the week. So we're gonna start doing podcasts. Jay Ride Flips and myself. Jay Ride came up with the name Reseller Island. I like that. I'm on the ninth island, and I also like that. It feels like you could get away at times. Who doesn't want to go on an island and chill out to get away from things and be more of no wonder you didn't answer, Carrie. I was just starting on here, like getting it set up, and I was like, she'll probably see me come on, but I hope everything's okay. So I do have it pinned, folks. I'd love it if all of y'all could join me. The Reseller Island podcast is going to be entirely different from what you're used to me talking about. The lives are set up in a way to have different sections. Our first podcast is going to be out tomorrow at 6 Pacific, 9 Eastern. And I got it pinned in the comments. I also got it down in the description, I believe. And later on, after this live, I'll go ahead and pin it in the comments just to make it as super convenient as possible. Because once this live goes out, the people who are watching afterwards don't see the chat like you do. And although this is last minute, it's out there. So I'm super excited about this podcast. We are talking about inviting people onto the Reseller Island podcast. It's a separate YouTube channel. Again, linked in the description and in the comments. But I hope you all are doing well. It's been a really fun week. We had family here from Twin Falls, Idaho. I talk about that a lot. Here's J Ride Picks. He also has J Ride Flips. Very active in the reseller community. Shares a lot of information. We are, what I like is the complete opposites. He is more reseller savvy. I am like particular on just certain types of items, things that I like. He is really on it about sell-through rates and things that are very important and that I focus on, but I don't talk about a lot. So it's good to have different mindsets and see how we communicate with one another, and also the information that we receive on the other end through all of y'all who are out there and get to watch and follow us along and see us grow. Um, man, I 6 years ago I started reselling, and I love to say this because it is very true. I had no idea that YouTube was this way, as in like a lot of hard work. You see comments out there saying reselling isn't a real job and blah blah blah. There's a lot of hate out there, but I don't think it's actually hate. I just think it's misunderstanding of what resellers do, and not just resellers. People who go out and collect things, buy things from places that we buy from, and places that I haven't even been to. And some of them I want to learn more about, especially this guy right here, Taco Wolf Collectibles, who just started a YouTube channel. Just I think maybe a month now. So a good friend, I've had him on the channel a little bit, and now he has a YouTube channel. So go and check him out as well. But for a podcast, it's something I've been talking about for probably over a year, but it wasn't until around 9 months ago that I was really wanting to get into it. But when you do a podcast and you want to work with other people, you want to mesh with people. And Jay Wright Flips is somebody who I just met recently in person, maybe a couple of weeks ago, and we just kicked it off. We communicated often, and when he asked me, saying, "Hey," or he mentioned a podcast, and I replied, I was with Carry American. We were with Carry American Arbitrage as well, and I said, "Yeah, I want to do a podcast too." And Jay looked over at me and was like, "Hmm." So it wasn't until maybe a few hours later or a day later, Jride said, messaged me and said, "Hey, are you really serious about a podcast?" I was like, "You have no idea. I've been wanting to do it for a long time, and just trying to get with somebody to do it and be consistent on it and work with." And if you follow Jride's content, he is not somebody to slack around like me. So it's good to have people like me and very good, like enthused, motivated, disciplined people like he is. And I am disciplined, but for all the wrong fun reasons that has nothing to do with reselling, but everything that I do in my life evolves around reselling for it to be the lifestyle that I want to live. And I'm really excited about it. That's super, super excited about it. Like I got chills right now just knowing that, oh gosh, the first podcast we have coming out tomorrow, it was I like it. I like it a lot. I'm a good listener, and you'll see that in the podcast. But I know it was a good experience. It was a little different. I was caught up in just being in the moment and being really happy and just listening to Jay Wright. But you're gonna see it tomorrow. And I even tell him in the video that it's just gonna get better. That's all you can do. When you put yourself out there to do something you want to do, like there's stepping stones to things. And I am beyond happy for this because it's not something that's gonna be like, oh, it's only for a month and we're out of here. We have both agree on a lot of things of how we want it to grow and what we want to do with it, inviting people, resellers, collectors, people we can learn from that the community can learn from as well. So in the comments, folks, I have it pinned. If you would do me a huge favor and just go ahead and follow the Reseller Island podcast. It's going to be also based on the feedback that we get that help us talk about topics and things we could bounce off, just like anything else, like you're on the live chats. I hope you all are having an amazing week. I have not thrifted in a week and what's today? Tuesday? A week and 2 days. And I feel really good. I'm clearing out some stuff. I got some stuff sold on Whatnot, a lot of little things. Um, and it kind of took me back yesterday, not bummed about the sales that I made, but really happy that I'm okay with selling two, three, up to $7 items that I have a lot of items for. And that's something I'm glad I brought up because when you sell small items like that, I'm usually having around 30 items on Whatnots. And when I had these little more affordable items, I would say, and affordability goes a long way with how deep your pockets are. But I found and realized yesterday that I wasn't thinking about before. If you're gonna have a lot of items like that, if you have more items sitting around to have more than 30 items, it doesn't take long at all. Make sure you have the right boxes, the packing material. Fortunately, Doris, if she's out in here, comes in later and hears this. Thank you so much. She has given me quite a bit of boxes. A viewer, I believe, collector, ex reseller, but there's a lot of little jewelry boxes that I brought up of Doris, and I always thank her for this. I gave some of Mikey bags of money, and they were all different sizes. So I ended up getting small items like this that Carrie the Desert Mermaid taught me about. Little like Dave of England or Dave Whimsy's little ceramic figures. And this one, if you didn't see my Whatnot yesterday, this little gorilla was twerking on Whatnot. But these little boxes are going a long way. They're very lightweight, and some of them are still under an ounce, but usually around 3 ounces. So I had plan on having a lot more of what I got from Carrie the Desert Mermaid are called little pretties, like little pretty stuff that I find fascinating, easy to pack, doesn't take up a lot of space. So as I'm reselling, I'm learning more about the size of stuff that I want, that I don't want to get, and the larger the items, I really wanted to have it be a standout profit item. And those are coming along well to where I'm not sourcing as much because I have so much stuff. And I'm planning, I believe Carrie and I, the Desert Mermaid, are planning on having another. And if Carrie, I'm pretty sure she's still in here. But we're talking about having another flea market sale at Broad Acres, and a lot of the things that aren't selling, even after two or three passes on Whatnot, I know we could sell there. The clientele from every platform that I sell on, eBay, knickknacks, Whatnot, and not a platform but in person will be. the flea market. So four places that I slang material from left and right for profits. And the flea market is also entirely different. It's really fun. You interact with people face to face. There's people that we've met that I also want to connect. There's this gentleman who has a store out in the district area that invited Carrie and I to go sell there for free, and he has his own section sorted out that nobody else could get it unless he gives them permission. He said, "Hey, you and Carrie could come and your friends, so we want to work on that soon on the first Friday." But my brother-in-law in Twin Falls, Idaho, when he was visiting, he was telling me, he said, "Sonny, I know this is a long shot, but we work with different clientele and there's somebody out there. And if this pertains to anybody, reach out to me and I'll pass you the information." But they sell pig hide leather. And I immediately thought about this guy that invited Carrie and I that he works with. He tries to find leather and he makes belts and all types of stuff. So that'll be in a video soon. We should get out. Carrie's back. I think she got back yesterday to Vegas. So I'm going to reach out to him and see if that's something that could help him and he could buy like the pallet load. It's not something you buy like little pieces. I think it's like a bigger purchase, more bigger type of business. So hopefully it works out for him. Hopefully it's something he could benefit from or know somebody that uses the information and passes somewhere else. And that's the horror deal when it comes to online content. What we use, pass it on. If you could do better with it, then you could do that. Um, what's going on, Clay? What's going on? And Desert Mermaid is right here. Let me get this. Got to run. Someone has a live at 3 p.m. Oh, Carrie has a live in about 15 minutes. I'm assuming that is on Whatnot, but she is talking more and more about wanting to do an auction on knickknacks, a back-to-back auction. I'll go first, and then Carrie will sell after me. So, um, again, I'm on here. Really exciting news to be on a reseller podcast with Jride Flips, who's in the chat earlier. He's a busy man, so he's probably going to pop in and out. Everlast Vintage. Hi, Sunny. I'm coming from Las Vegas. Where are the good thrift stores? I'm staying at the Flamingo. You know what? Over there at the Flamingo, if it's on Flamingo Street, um, there's going to be a couple of Goodwills over there, a Salvation Army, and I think a Savers. So you're not too far with commuting out there. But I would say if you're not following me on Instagram or on Facebook, I also have my own pages on there to reach out to me and let me know when. There's also an Amanda coming out that we're going to end up meeting soon, I believe, in about a week or just shy of a week. I think the third, actually. So for those who are coming out of Vegas, folks, I do my best to visit people. There has been many times where viewers, I run into viewers, resellers, thrifters out at thrift stores that never reached out, and it just so happens we bump into each other. So that is always fun, just being recognized. That's something I never thought or even thought about, but it's pretty fascinating. My first one was in Costco, which the lady was pretty excited and she yelled, "Sunny Las Vegas!" And I just thought, like, this is freaking awesome. And then my wife next to me was like, what, what's going on here? And I was like, don't worry about it. I'm going to start signing autographs in the future. I'm like, I'm going to be big times. And I'm not, but for me, this is big times, just to be more into the community in so many different ways. And to top it off, like the year's just beginning, to be on a podcast with somebody that I am running into more or meeting up with more and more often, and who's also coming to Vegas. Jride Flips. He is coming to Vegas more and more often. And we do want to have more meetups. And we've talked about that with Carrie, the Desert Mermaid, and then Mikey Bags of Money from time to time. Like, it's not something we did once or twice in the past. We want to continue to grow as much as possible. And with that, I was talking to Paul Philly Flipper last night, who was Paul Philly Flipper. I was asking him, I don't know if this has happened to you, and I don't talk too much about reselling, although I am a reseller. So I just started using calculated shipping, which I haven't done in forever. And I mean, probably like over a year and a half, 2 years, maybe even longer. So I ended up putting a bat. I think the other one's right behind me. But I ended up putting a bat with calculated shipping, dimensions, weight. I already had it somewhat an idea of how much I was going to weigh. And the weight was off by 2 or 3 ounces, which didn't change the price of it. But for some reason, the calculated shipping selected, or the buyer selected, a padded flat rate envelope. And Paul Philly Flipper was like, "Oh, that's definitely not going to fit in a padded flatbed envelope." I was like, "Well, it could fit in several if I cut them up, but that's not going to work out. You'll get in trouble for that." But he was telling me about some who to go to and reach out to. But I think when you reach out to John Flipping Ain't Easy, he would know more about it, and he's very close to me too. I want to start having videos with him. Very awesome guy. I like him and Jenna a lot. They're amazing people. Then what's up, Everlasting? Yeah, I just highlighted it. Nala, tell Alan I said hello. Tell my buddy I said hello, and I hope I run into you again. You reach out, yeah, reach out to me, and I'll do my best to see if friends could make it. Susan was one of them. Two sisters thrifting. When Susan came down, she brought her daughter, um, and we got to meet them. I took them out to breakfast. I treated. Maybe next time carry you a treat, or we just go to like a low dollar menu drive through. Excited about the podcast, Matt, A Profit Pursuit. I am very excited about it. I am super excited about a lot of things, and it doesn't take a lot for me to get excited. I am very pleased and grateful, thankful for a lot of things, just to even like have the time to sit down, to be on a podcast. I was at really good terms with my wife. She sees that I'm working, on my mess, and that's a really good thing. Full circle this year, making 6 years this month, right? When I started reselling, I was having a difficult time finding a job. And it wasn't until after probably a month of being here or two in Vegas of finally getting job offers for like security, which I ended up getting into anyways, at a casino, but they were offering me $11.25 an hour, and I just thought, whatever. I need a job. My savings are running out, and it wasn't until I got that job interview, and they said, "Well, you're gonna have to go get a certificate. Or several certificates. First aid. You're gonna have to do this, and you're gonna have to buy your own uniform." And I'm just like, "Geez, I don't even know how I'm gonna get that, but I'll figure it out." Once I finished that interview and walked out, and this was at the Gold Coast here in Las Vegas, I walked out of there. I'm walking to my wife who was waiting in the car, and I get a phone call, and it's one of her cousins who say, "Hey, are you interested in being a kickboxing instructor?" I was 255 pounds, and I've been in the martial arts and combatives in the military and stuff like that, but nothing with training wise like this at this extent. At 255 pounds, I ended up going through training, and they were pretty tough on me to where I felt like I was being picked on. I was like, it doesn't matter, I need a paycheck. But I ended up turning down the job that I just got accepted into, got into kickboxing, and then a few months after that, ended up leaving there to get into the post office because I wanted to use my benefits from the military being in 10 and a half years to roll over, and I could retire it a lot earlier. I only did 10 and a half years in the military, active duty, toured twice. And it wasn't until a few months after that, even after the post office, I said, I'm not going to work no more. I'm going to do reselling. And I did that for a while until my wife said, you know what? She didn't say it this way, but this is how I took it. I felt like my wife was saying, you're not doing crap at home. When I go to work, you're sitting down. When I come to work, you're sitting down. She wasn't seeing the work I was doing, typing in, taking photos, which wasn't hard, but still in a way a little difficult learning about reselling. And then coming back around 6 years from now, from the struggles of hoping and praying that somebody would just hire me to have a job, to where I created my own business looking for stuff that people donate or give, for the kindness of their hearts. Or people, yes, do pass away, which nobody talks about too often, but people pass away and it's just too much for families. And they just say, you know what? I just give it to some people, or I'm sure they keep some things as mementos to keep memories alive and cherish their family, but they don't keep everything. So that's where we come along. We come in and say, hey, let's try to find some cool stuff, some fun stuff, meet some people along the way. And this has become my lifestyle, to not needing to depend on jobs. Not that I encourage anybody to leave their job and do this. Yes, it has to make a lot of sense when it comes to reselling to do this full time. And can you resource the things that are going to help you pay the bills that are never going to end? Never. You could stop reselling, bills are still going to come coming in. You could say, you know what, I'm not going to have a cell phone. I don't want to live in a home. I'm just going to ruck it out. And people do that. and still find that they have to come back around and work for some type of monies, some currency to pay for things that they need, some necessities. They could go hardcore and just go off the map, off the grid, as they say, but that's tough. And that's not for me. I like where I'm at, and I'm very thankful for all of it. Who did we have up here? I think I passed somebody up. Filipino Flips, a new subscriber from Jride's channel. Looking forward to seeing more of your content and potential meeting you in the future if I make it out to Las Vegas. Well, Filipino Flips, salamat pare for coming over here. Talofa, everybody, Samoan friends out here. I appreciate everybody. Aloha, welcome, mucho gusto, inanseo. There's a lot of love for me out to the community, and this podcast that we're working on. It's going to be wonderful. It's going to be great. And I couldn't even imagine, like, man, the friends that I have doing podcasts right now, uh, how much fun they have just hearing them talk about it. And it's not because of what other people are doing, why I wanted to start. I just know there's more to my channel that I don't bring because I just don't feel like it meshes well with it. And back to Paul Philly Flipper, I was talking to yesterday. I was asking him about his two channels, and he said he has this one which is more experimental, and then here's his picking channel. And Jride has two channels. He has his channel, and then he has the Flips channel, and or Flips, and then you have a Picks. And talking to Paul yesterday, I was like, man, you know what? I want to get back to that too. But my focus right now is to get to this podcast, to see it grow, to give it my all, like I do everything else other than reselling daily or listing daily. But that's something for myself to really focus on and just dig deep into kicking out of my bad habits. Bad habits are not always bad for a long time, but for me to be hesitant towards being squirrel, saying something, wanting to do something else, saying I'll get to it later, I'll do it tomorrow, which I was talking about last time. Those are my bad habits, and that's why I tell people don't do what I do with the bad habits. And I'm pretty transparent with things of like I'm not organized, I have a mess, and I don't share a lot of it about. I don't share a lot of it because it's embarrassing, but it's enough for me to say it to be okay, being that vulnerable enough without you having to see it. But right below, like under the screen, I've been taking stuff out of my storage unit, which I am going to now take it all back to the storage unit and work out of more whatnot sales and knickknack sales with things that match towards the different things. eBay, I've been listing every day. I've been doing really good sales, doing a lot better than what I have been the last 2 months because I've been more into this is time or it's time to really kick it in gear. Um, every year that I've grown, not just on social media, but finding things, being better at profitable items that either are fast turnarounds, high sell through rate, or long form or long term type of sales, long sold sales. I do very well. In the last couple of months, I've been buying less, and that's a good thing because I don't need to buy more. And if I do, they just need to be solid items that benefit me for whatever they are. So sell through rate is important, and that's where Jride Flips. For me, him, John Flipping Ain't Easy. I would say Mikey Bags of Money too, as they talk about it often in their content of when they look for items. And me, I know what I could sell, and I know where I could sell it more for, but I have the tendency to want to give people good deals and bring it over to say whatnot. And if I want a little bit more money, being open about this, I'll take it to knickknacks. And it's all on me on pricing what I do. I don't know why I have each one different, but I do. And for me, it makes sense. And for you being a reseller, content creator, person of whatever interest you're into, it has to make sense to you, and you have to be happy with it. And you could always get better. Definitely can. We got Carrie, the American Arbitrage, who Trash to Cash just put out another episode this morning. Jay Wright was asking me if I had heard today's episode, and I said nope. But I watched the recent one last night. So I'm not far behind, but I got into it this morning. But to be a podcast with other podcasts who all have something to give and talk about, and entertainment as well, uh, those are the guys, the three guys. But we'll grow entirely different channels. I'm happy for them. Um, and I haven't seen Carrie as much. To tell you the truth, I miss Carrie. I miss Dawn. I see them on social media all the time, but I haven't seen them. They're very, very active. But hopefully, we get a little get together with him. We haven't had Carrie, Dawn, Mikey, Carrie, J Ride, um, Tiffany Thrifting Vegas meet up together. I think maybe other than one time, other than J Ride, because he's getting more into the what he calls the Vegas bubble, and I like that. But I think Carrie's about to move from what I heard, what the rumor is. So I'm a little sad about that, but always happy for my friend. Wherever he goes, eventually I'll go hunt him down and hang out with him at times. Barbara Ann, how are you doing? Welcome. I also want to do a podcast about thrifting and flipping. Do it. That's what this guy would tell me. Do it. Just do it. And for me, I've been waiting for somebody to do it with, and I really didn't ask anybody other than one person, but we all got things going on. But now I'm in one and I'm excited about it. So I would say start it, create a page for everything for what you want to do. If you're a content creator or want to start getting into content creating, make sure you go to every platform and just lock in your name so it makes branding just a lot more stronger and legitimate. I've had to where my Instagram is the Sunny Las Vegas, and then there's Sunny in Las Vegas because somebody who has the name doesn't use it, and it's been like that for years. So I don't. I wish they would just kick them off and give me it. But that's how it works. So that's why I'm telling you right now. If you're gonna get into something, get all of the platforms and have your name in stone, so that way you don't have to worry about it. It just makes it easier. Did I see Regina in here? I think I did. What's up, Regina? Regina. So they never talk about Regina and Derek. Never talk about their lives as a podcast, but to me, they're a podcast. They're on Hump Day Wednesdays, so it's either on Regina's or Derek's channel. So, like I said, there's other people who are out there. Podcasts are not new. Podcasts are like all over the place, but even then there's still so much more that people could share and use to put out there, and hopefully it's just everybody's successful in their own way. It's exciting. I really want to have a meetup to where I grow on the podcast, as of course as Jay Wright, but even in my own way, for as an individual, like we could make a difference in all that we do, big or small. There's a lot I can tell you this about resellers and content creators. There's a lot, and everybody else, but there's a lot of people out there who are creating content that they're not showing you every little thing because it just feels like it's too good. Like Sunny donates and gives this to that person. Well, I could be receiving this stuff and receive it and give it to somebody else. But there's so much good going on that it doesn't all get shared. And I want to do so much good in this community that it only takes time. I have to hear something. I have to be touched by something. I can't jump in on everything that everybody invites me to because it's impossible. But I do try my best to support everybody as best that I can. And even if it's just being mentioning somebody, resharing a story, even if you can't do anything else, it's cool to reshare information, channels, info. I just like original stuff. I do my best not to even screenshot like things that other people have said, unless it's just something that like, ooh, that's really good. I'm going to share it, but that's usually on Instagram. Um, is there anybody in here in the comments? If you have an active YouTube channel, message it or put it in the comments. Let people know that you have an active channel, and hopefully you get some people going over there to us. But the podcast is one thing where it's going to be a little different with Jay Ride. And I thought about this, but when he called me back and said, "This is how I want to do it." There's going to be different sections that we talk about, like business. It kind of opens up, and then the third section is going to be more about just chilling out, almost like this, but bouncing off of each other. And I want to bring in like reseller, almost news and highlights about what's going on from what I've seen. Jay Wright follows a lot of, I'm sure, as well as us in the chat. We follow probably a handful of the same people, many of the same people, but there's a lot of people separately that we don't know about, but one of them do or does. So I like to connect the dots and bring people in. So I just can't wait for this podcast. I'm super duper, 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 duper 90s term excited. But yes, do the podcast, get the name in there, write it out, get every platform set up to that name. Josh Golden House, I had a podcast or a live with him and John. Congrats on a new podcast. You do great. Appreciate it, Josh. Appreciate it. And I also heard you got promoted or you got into some job or something, something big. So I think that's why you're leaving your channel. But I'm pretty sure you'll be back every now and then. When you love what you do, you can't help but just jump back into it. And being it's just part of who you are. It's one of those things when you create content long enough, say for like years. There are great people, but there are some names out there that will come in and people love them or hate them. But the ones that I followed were just people love them. I love them. I'll follow them, and then they don't fall off. They just disappear for a while, and then they come back in, and it's just like, oh man, that's freaking awesome. And I did that for a while. Not that anybody said what I'm saying about other people to me, but I ended up getting out of my YouTube channel and just focusing on work to get out of entry level to go to more of a career status. And I got the job that I wanted. I ended up having my ending job, last job that I ever had, for a company was making around 100,000 a year. And to me, you think money makes you happy, but then when you see what you have to do for it and what you have to listen to, and not everything was toxic, it just wasn't for me anymore. And the whole time it was on my head, just knocking, Sonny, you could be a lot happier if you just go do this. And for me, that was reselling. And it's turned out great and it's continued to get better. There, I haven't had since I started 2.5 years full time. I haven't had a moment to where I'm like, oh crap, I can't pay the bills. I am covered with a lot of things. I have a lot of things going for me that I've worked on that has taken years for me to get, and I'm a dum dum when it comes to stuff. People should never talk bad about themselves, but I'm telling you, when it comes to certain things, like I am a dum dum. I used to never believe that I was like a could get into college or even pass a semester, and before I knew it, I was done with my first semester, and I just thought to myself, oh my goodness, this is what college is like. This ain't nothing. And I guess I needed somebody like my wife, who has been my backbone, believing in me and knowing that I could do so much more for myself. And that's the funny thing about people is that I guarantee there's somebody, maybe even a few people in your life that you see and you're like, man, you have so much potential. And although you tell them that and that they could do good, they don't do it until you just keep pushing them enough to where now start to listen. They started soaking in and say, you know what? I could do this. If I believe this person, like they are legit, and why would I not give myself the chance? And I'm glad I have because of my wife, who believed in me, and I've done so much good things because of her, which hardly anybody ever sees, and that's why I call her a unicorn at time. She comes in and out of like being seen on social media, and I like to take photos every now and then, even if they're not the best photos. And she's gonna get mad at me because I don't want people to think that she's gonna be on the news like a missing person. So I'm like, oh, she's alive, and I'll share a post. But she hates to be on social media, although she wants to have a YouTube channel, and she's back and forth with it and has been. She does great editing. Vintage Viking Treasures, Becky, Snowy, Colorado. Oh, I got some peeps out in Colorado. um, I'm going to say Kristen's one of them. Aren't the Ginger Marvin, Kathy and Chris? I believe they're out in Colorado. There's some good people out there. Uh, Jimmy Old School Flips used to be out in Colorado, but I forget where he moved to. But I hope he's doing well. I haven't talked to him in a while. But I did see the replay of Cat the Nurse Flipper and him, and Jride brought that up with, hey, did you see Jimmy's shark tooth hat? And I was like, I saw the thumbnail, but I didn't see the live. So after he talked about it, I was like, I'm gonna go check it out. Trashy Panda, I would love to see a reselling Discord. That is a good one. There is a reselling Discord that I jump into every now and then, and it's gonna be Trash to Cash. Um, they're the only probably Discord that I'm active in. But folks, anybody in the chat, if type in Discord and whatever title of the Discord is, share that in there because there are some. There's a few of them out there. I'm using my phone for my webcam, so I can't open it up and look at it without it being disconnected. But there are some, Trashy Panda. There are some reselling Discords out there. I know Trash Cash has one. I was following theirs, and I'm in and out of theirs every now and then because when they had the Trash to Cash podcast, Las Vegas Bash, their second time coming over here, they started it then. So oh, are you going for traveling? Here we go. Traveling a bunch off to Florida at midnight tonight again. Must be nice. I do want to go to Florida. Who was the last time? Somebody was like, "When are you coming to Florida?" I think it was Tina Bina. I think it was in Dave's whatnot chat. She was asking me. Tina's Dave's ADH Dave's OG NC picker Dave. Tina, she's awesome. She's fun. They're a lot of fun, but don't be anywhere around ADH Dave when you're at like a slot machine because he would just start hitting max bet and just laugh when you burn through all your, or he burns through all of your money. True story because it happened to me. So yeah. But folks, we are on here because of the podcast that I'm now a part of. That's in the description. Do me a favor, follow it, go show it support. As in tomorrow, the first video comes out, but every Monday is going to be a new video coming out at 6 Pacific AM and 9 Eastern in the morning. So that's when it's going to start happening. And if it wasn't for some tech issues of being approved by Google to say this is a legit channel, then it would have already been approved and we would just be stuck as we wanted to on Mondays. But next week, Monday is going to be where it's kicking off every Monday afterwards. So I'm really excited about it. And also just trying to create something a little different as in view wise, because the podcast is usually more for the background noise, right? But I have a tendency when I'm sitting down of actually wanting to watch like Trash the Cat podcast. I want to watch them because part of what they say makes it more fun when you see their reactions, especially if they're saying something about Kevin and he's just like, oh, he's in his chair that everybody's starting to hate his microphone on because it's rubbing on, I think Carrie said his third nipple. So if you haven't seen the recent one of Trash to Cash podcast, um, you'll know what I'm talking about when you do watch it if you haven't. But it's just funny. The reactions are not so much in sound to me. I'm a visual person. I love to see things, but I also like to hear things, and that's the way I learn. Seeing, touching, looking, like as much as possible. Not that I would want to touch anything third parts of Kevin, but the podcast was really funny starting out, and then I just started packing up orders this morning on Whatnot. So everybody who purchased orders from me on Whatnot yesterday, they were already out by 12 noon or earlier. So busy morning. And then I even played some Super Mario Kart on the Switch before jumping on live. I was listening to Jride and watching his chat as he was live earlier. And then I was like, okay, babe, I gotta go. I gotta get out of here. But it feels good too, folks. Now that I'm getting on my game of cleaning up my mess and just being better reseller, better husband, better person. Not that I'm horrible or anything, but I could see the difference in my relationship. Um, and that's one big thing that stood out in tomorrow's podcast, that support goes a long way, but what's the cost of support? And you'll hear that tomorrow. Um, Made sense to me, made a lot of sense. Um, Marty, Sonny, I thought you were planning to move also. So if you missed that information, we were talking. I thought it was like nearly 100% that we're going to move to Houston, Texas. That is not out of the plans, but there's no time soon that we're going to do that. We got some calls back and forth, which things I've been working on, my wife and I, with IVF. And after 2 years and change now, it's going into the third year. Uh, it's looking promising. So because of that, we don't want to be in the middle of traveling, looking for a home, and my wife being on the IVF meds. For me, it's not a problem, but for her to be going through some medical medications and stuff. It's not easy. So why would I do that with her or make it strenuous and stressful when it's already been so a delicate issue? And I don't want to mess with any of that. So we're not moving anytime soon, but it's not out of the picture of moving to Houston. But it won't be anytime soon. It'd probably be, if anything, maybe I'm probably now, even after that, having a child, I would want our future kids to have like maybe 3 years afterwards. So it's going to be some time, even if we do move. Um, and then I saw the Currys that popped in here. The Currys, how's it going? I've been seeing you more in the chats. It's good seeing you. I know they're up earlier in the comments, but wanted to say hello to them. Nala, news and highlights, a great idea. Yeah, highlights are fun. It would not be a rock star flipper type of highlights. That's his own style, but the guy's pretty. I like. I freaking like Casey, and his things like always get me. There's something about like how he comes at his information of like, oh, here's this, and you know he's gonna end up getting to go check out my YouTube channel, and I'm just like, oh man, he got me to where I have to go and look like what's the news now, and it's like a drama news but not drama. It's just news. So I don't look at things like that. But there's a way that he does it that it's him, and I'm enthused by it. I can't help but want to know what who scammed what and for how much and why. And those things are good to learn about, so that way it doesn't happen to you. There's a lot more scams happening up. I just had a talk with the VA recently. I've been talking more with the VA about some personal things and seeing they're seeing if I'm actually getting the help that I need. And I think what has actually been happening to me, they're like, hey, we're gonna work on this and see if we could help you out with this. And for me, it's mental as well as I feel I do talking here. When I'm on my own, I feel like I forget a lot of things. Um, I have a bad memory and I don't want to keep getting it or it to become worse. So that's why I think too the things that are happening to me that a lot of people don't see because I try to make the most with all that I do to make it the best, fun, enjoyable moment. I don't want it to be like boohoo me. This is what's going on. I don't want a pity party because that's the last thing I think anybody wants. So I try to just be as lively as I can because that's who I am. But when I'm on my own, like my thoughts really just cave down on me and I just start thinking stuff. And with PTSD, it doesn't help. But reselling has helped me a long way to be distracted but focused in a way to where I could look at, hey, I have a bundle of stuff, I'm going to list it, and this is what my goal is when I do it, the potential of the profits that are going to come from it. So reselling for me has helped. Working for a company with me having PTSD, depression, and at times, as they say, unaliving yourself. I used to be very cringed at even thinking that or even mentioning that, but I felt like I've empowered myself to speak about it to where I am very happy to be here. And I've said it from time and time again, and I'm open about it. I'm transparent about it. But it's not something people still to this day are comfortable talking about or even listening to. But for me, it's a must speak about in a little bit of ways for it to approach you a little bit more comfortably than just you need to do this and not do that. And it's nobody likes to be told what to do, which is why as I'm saying this, you could think about my videos. I don't tell people what to do. I show people what I'm doing. And it's been a lifestyle that has helped me just be a more clear minded about just relaxing, being comfortable, going off on fun and being excited to where I could tone it down and relax and talk about moments and be comfortable. People say, "Sonny, you have a really good radio voice," and I could do that. But a lot of times it's because I'm coping with. I get excited and then my head just starts bouncing around and all these thoughts, which aren't bad. But when I'm by myself, it's a lot different. So it's really fascinating how the brain thinks, but it's very strong, a lot stronger than what people realize. If you build it up to just be better in your own way, which could be a lot of things from therapy to talking, counseling, which I've done all of that and continue to do so. Colin's on the move. What's going on? Arlicia Ramirez, you're not dumb. You're a lifelong learner. Your wife is wonderful at being your motivator and cheerleader. I love to support you and your constant efforts to learn and improve. And I was saying this on Josh Goat, who's on here. Him and John flipping ADZ. I think I said that in the live with them that I know that I'm a student, a lifelong student. Actually, it was in the comments. It was in a comment from one of their viewers. I don't remember the name, but they're giving me advice about packing glass. That I say I pack my way and nothing's happened, right? Glass, at least. I haven't had any glass break on me, and I mentioned how I pack it, and I know that it's not always the best way, but it's how I know how to do it. So somebody ended up telling me how they do it because they have the training from actually working, I believe, with the museum or something really big that they learn how to package things and why. And that's something you don't hear anybody talk about. And I guess unless you're looking into or reaching out to museums or like these really big places that have amazing stuff, why people go to museums and watch it. But he gave him some information, and he ended up replying back saying that the last person he told that to, that they pretty much wrung his neck. And I just was like, why would you do that? There's never one way to do something. And I've learned that there's never just two ways to do something for everything. Sometimes there's many ways to do it. It's all on what you're comfortable doing things. And if that's okay until you want to improve on it and change some things to maybe be a little faster or be a little bit more careful. But it's not until, say, something breaks that I might be like, how could I have made this different? But even with that, I still try to learn from things that aren't like bad or things that aren't breaking. I'm just, what's a way to pack a box or a hat? And still, for example, who was it? Tim over the years, I think it was about a month ago, right? For as long as reselling has been, and there's YouTube videos and there's resellers out there, because he had bought from another reseller, somebody sent the hat in a poly bag. I've never sent the hat in a poly bag that was like a trucker hat. I've sent hats that were like flimsy visors. It didn't matter if it was in a box or not. So there is a difference, but you still get that out there, and people, I still feel the evergreen videos are wonderful, and there's still channels that grow out there doing it. Cha-Ching King is one of them. I feel that's why Jride, with his knowledge and expertise of what he talks about, is very clear from beginning to end, step by step, and it's not slow. I feel like I would take too long giving tutorials. But his channel is growing, is booming, and I think is the way they have this flow teaching method and understanding. That's their expertise, and for me, is just relaxing and enjoying myself. Which why I think people look at it and they enjoy it the same way that I do, because we're a lot alike. What's your username? Mario Kart. We need to play. I don't even know. My wife set it up. She has hers and I have mine. I think we have two things on there. But I'll get back to you, Ray. I got your phone. Pinji, hello, Sunny. So this isn't actually the podcast. Just announcement. Yes, it's announcement for the podcast. Yes, correct. And the podcast is Reseller Island. There's going to be a little structure to it. Our first video goes out tomorrow at 6 Pacific, 9 Eastern. Um, Maybe we could play on the times in the future to be a little bit more earlier, a little bit more later. But other than that, it's going to be set on Mondays starting next week. Tomorrow, it just happens our first video comes out tomorrow. So it's pinned in the comments. If y'all could just go ahead and follow it, subscribe to it. There's no videos out yet, but I do know I want to maximize the community tab on there as well. Get some polls and votes, which folks, thank you for those. Jay Ride, speaking of him in the podcast. So Jay Ride ended up asking me about some info of resellers, how good was 2023. I had quite a bit of people vote on what matched with them. If you haven't seen it, go look at the community tab. Still not too late to go and just put in your votes to learn more about the community that's out there. But when I asked the questions of how good their eBay sales were on 2024 and 2024 this year, I then wondered, because a lot of the comments that I get are people that aren't resellers, and they literally put it in the comments saying, I'm not a reseller, but I like your content. I like thrifting videos. Or I used to be a reseller. Now I'm just a collector. Or they've just been collectors. So I did a follow-up question on there, and that got even more attention. And I like that because that helps me learn more about who's watching me and what I'm doing, and I try to make sense of it to help the channel grow. One fascinating thing about my channel, which oftentimes content creators will talk about views, and I don't talk about how much I get paid. I don't get paid very much. Just imagine like $10 for 1,000 views, right? Depending on how good the video is, you could get more than that, but I don't make that much. But I do have a lot of fun with what I do, and it's more like a video album for me rather than the old school way of having a photo book, which I still love those. My wife does very good with those craft books like that. But I am doing better now that I have my audience watching from beginning to end and enjoying who I am. And I used to think when I started out, like if only bigger YouTubers, right? Because everybody starts out at one. If only I had like people that would give me a shout out and I would get all these people. It doesn't work that easy, folks, to just have people shout you out and you get these numbers that are amazing because you may not be the right content fit for what they're wanting. So when you people give people shout outs, I say give them a chance. Check them out, listen to a couple of videos. If they're not for you, just don't unsubscribe. Just put, no alerts. And if you love them, like go back and watch them, ask questions. I think the better the content is for you to keep wanting is to be involved in the content. And that's why in my videos I try to talk to the camera, trying to reach out to all of y'all to get y'all to participate in questions or what is this versus that. There's a lot of things, and there will continue to be a lot of things that I don't know about. So the content or the feedback that I get has helped me a lot. I just found you can't see it here, it's blurry, but this was one from a viewer that they helped me find. Oops. And there goes my little lizard, but not this one. So this one right here was one that a viewer, all right, she's the one that told me about and sent me screenshots on our Facebook and said, "Hey, you might want to go back and look at that." This took about a month. This is by the Frogman. When I came across this or the information, I didn't hold it to myself. I talked about it to the Art of Resell. So he would tell me every weekend, like, "Hey, did you find a frog? I'm gonna get the frog." And I'm like, if you get the frog art, like good for you. That'll be okay, as long as you got it. But even if anybody else got it, it'll be all right. But it took a whole month. The vendors, when I got the information from this person, the vendors left to California. So at this time of the year, or a couple of months ago, they go over to California and they sell there one of the bigger flea markets for whatever reason, maybe to be closer to family too as well. But they did very good. And by the time they came back, the people weren't there in the morning when I walked by them, by their section. It wasn't until we walked up and down the aisles looking at places about an hour and a half later, we walked back through there because Art said, "Hey, let's go look at this other vendor. Maybe they're back," because he was going to have some more stuff. And if you've seen the plates, the Limoges plates that I got for like $30, I think $15 per set, the Limoges plates are brand new and they should sell for, they're selling used the plates. I haven't even listed them yet, which I am bad at, but the Limoges plates sell for around $100 used, and mine are brand new, and it's a set of six. I have two sets of six, so really good profits are going to come in there once I get it listed, which today will be the day that I list those. But ever since then, Art. Let me get back to it, squirrel. So I ended up going past this section to where I see red on the side, and I believe the tarp is red or it might be brown. I wasn't wearing my colorblind glasses that was given to me by shout out to Sandy, my flip and van life. She bought me some color vision glasses, colorblind seeing glasses, and they're not cheap either. They're very pricey, so I use them often, but not when I'm live on here. So as we're passing by the tent, I look over and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh!" I I look over at the corner of my eye and I'm talking to a gentleman, not trying to be so excited, and I go straight to it. I was like, "Hey, how much is this?" And he was like, I think $15." And it's several $100s for this thing. So if you see anything like this, like these frogs, go look them up. Just go look up the Frogman brass frogs. This right here is several $100s. Sometimes the names are like on the inside of the leg or the arms, but this one happens to be right here. There's a little scuffing, but for $15 into several $100s, and it took a month to get. During that same time frame, at the end of that thrifting, I ended up finding a backpack really good name to look out for, Tactical Tailor. Look it up. If you have a separate window, or if you can right now, or if you're listening to this after the live is done, look up Tactical Tailor backpacks, rucksacks, frames. They go for several $100s. So to pay $25, which I don't pay $25 for a lot of things, ended up selling within, I think, 3 days of listing it for $400 something to somebody in Alaska, plus shipping. So $25 into several hundred. That thrift alone, it's like a 2,000 plus dollar thrift for something that I maybe invested $125 in, which is pretty freaking awesome. I love to have finds like that now, to where I've learned so much more that I don't feel like I'm buying all these little things as much as I used to. I'm more of buying better quality items that are worth getting into. Taco Wolf just subscribed. I appreciate it, brother. And I hope your sons did well at their band. Not band. Well, they have a band. We're gonna go to a live one time, or I'll go to it. Excuse me, and I'll share you more about it. Feel like I just drank beer to have that burp, but I didn't. I think maybe because I haven't really ate too much all day. Almost at an hour, folks. But before we leave, go check out the Reseller Island podcast. The first video goes out tomorrow morning, and then every video after that is going to be on a Monday. I'm really excited about it. I hope everybody is too. I hope you could support it. Um, I was a really good listener in this first video, but the next one, like I don't know. I'm just so stoked about it. Really, really happy, really excited. And also for what's to come. I got plans in the works of doing other things and sharing more content. But for this past week and this week, I'll do my best to have a video of my own on this channel in about 2 days. I had a little mishaps with my DJI mic. All right. I get a little mic system. It was supposed to make it easier for me to record and block out some of the noise cancellation of the background, but it didn't record. So I'm going to have to do some voiceovers. I guess it wasn't bad. For me, I was hoping it would have been smooth to where I got bummed out about it. I'm like, what am I going to do with this now? But my friends are in there, and something's audio did get recorded. So I'll have that. Mikey Bags of Money just put out the video, and his version. I'm going to be working on mine. But Carrie the Desert Mermaid, she ended up having a big, big find. Like, she found a lot more stuff than I think both of us are combined, or got combined from out in Tacoma, California. So next year, I'm already excited for next year. The way the rummage sale was is that it was more of the fire department who were given donations, and it was donates. That's how it was. I think there was two vendors who worked together that come to Broadacres. They were there as well. And this is one thing I learned about that, folks. I didn't know on Google Chrome that there's a little camera in the top right corner. I don't know how I installed this, but this here is like you could zoom in and out, and turn it as well. So Google Chrome is pretty cool, and this is where I'm using my phone. Studio lighting, you could turn this all off if you want it. But I thought this was pretty cool to use and figure out. I had no idea what that camera was until now. So if anybody, like, if you were to send me like a $100 tip right now, super chat, like, I will do this. I would do this right now if somebody did it. Don't do it. Don't do it, folks. I'm just joking. I'm not even like in my actual YouTube. I'm on StreamYard right now. But super excited about this podcast. Super excited about a lot of things. But I'm so grateful for all of these opportunities that are coming out my way, because it's things that I've been working about and dreamed about and been a focus of mine. And now I'm starting to clean up my mess that I've trailed behind with being unorganized. So I'm very proud of myself, I would say. And for those of y'all that are out there and you're thinking things are hard, don't. It's only for a moment. Things are only hard for a moment, but the happiness that comes from what you're working towards, that trophy will last a long time, a lifetime, and it'll actually help you with comparisons of how you used to go over these obstacles, trials and tribulations, of knowing that when you face hardships, you easily more in your mind could say, it's not a big thing. It's only for a moment, and you move past it rather than dwelling on it. So do your best to just remember you have a lot of control mentally with how you want things to turn out. Even if they don't turn out the way that are your way, you're going to learn from it, and it only gets easier. And for me, that has a lot of things in my personal life, on social media, which I feel I have a really good mesh, like a balance of not getting lost in things that um, are not real. Like I am very real, and so are the friends that are around me and support system. There's no fakeness around us. So I like that. I like that I don't have to worry about who says what anymore. I'm just focused on me and my friends, and I want to see them grow and support them. And I know I'm going to earn what I put in, and I'm very stoked about that, as well as other people in the community that are starting content and getting into reselling. There's so much more for all of us. The only thing you have to do is stop taking your hand that you reach out for and say, "Give me," to go out there and reach for it on your own. Snow Bear Snow Bear, hey, what's going on? Oh, 126 subscribers right here. Yeah, 126. That is awesome, folks. And we go on the live when it goes on tomorrow, the podcast. If y'all could also, if you do remember, share those on your YouTube channel. Share it on your Facebook. Share it with other people and say, "Hey, new podcast." Give some words of your own, and do that with the other podcasts that you follow, the other channels that you come across. Like, subscribe is good, but I know I have my people on here that always ask me, sometimes either on lives or in the comments, how can we support you more? And I don't want it to be like, oh, send me super chats. That's not what I'm trying to do. For me, support is just telling me what I'm doing wrong, what I could learn from, what I didn't pick up, which I get a lot of people do. Sonny, you didn't pick up this, and that's actually where this, or you should look into this name. It's not what you said, but at marker or the time frame 3:26, 3 minutes and 26 seconds, there was like a something back there, and you should look into that, and look at these words, and that helps out a lot too. So it's not just my channel; it's our channel. It's I've only grown because of you all. If it wasn't for you all, like I would be stuck to where I used to be and not understanding it, to where I was only talking as if I was talking to myself and trying to come off as a teacher, which I'm not. Um, for me, I don't think of myself as a teacher. I think of myself as just somebody who's just wants to enjoy things. And sure, I learn stuff and it gets shared and people learn from it, but I don't want that's just not me. I think I found the way that I am on YouTube, with learning how I talk, think, and people understand me. And for new people, sometimes it's like, what did he just say? He said like five different stories in one sentence. But people get me, and that's those are my peoples. So thank you all. I appreciate every one of you. Um, and 126 people. It's only going to keep growing, folks. Dang, I need to hear that. Thanks, Sonny. Casual fam, and keep it up, man. You're doing great. You and your family. You do awesome. I'm always thinking about when I see your videos of you being inside like your warehouse. I'm like, man. And then Mike, pirate ship auction hunters, uh, seeing them and what they have. I'm like, man, people are doing it. I could do it, but I need to work on certain things before I get there, to get there. So you're motivating too, man. There's a lot of people motivating a lot of things. Piece of scrap. This is probably, I would say, oh my goodness, this is probably one of the most, I feel like, attacked person on Poshmark. Like the stuff and comments that she gets, I'm like, how can you deal with that? I would have gave up a long time ago. So that tells me you got very thick skin. And good for you. I like that you share it, but I also feel like why are they picking on you? Like what's going on with that? And if y'all don't know, look her up on Instagram. She shares a lot of info on there. She also has a YouTube channel. But folks, hour and 3 minutes. Make sure to go and follow the new podcast, Reseller Island Podcast. First video goes out tomorrow. And then every video from now on, starting next week, is going to be on a Monday. You're going to be a big part of it with feedback, your comments, your support will definitely help make a change in the growth of it. And it's going to continue to grow. Reseller Island is going to grow and more islands will be attached to it. We're going to be connecting people with one another and sharing some good quality, fun, intriguing content. So thank you. Thank you all very much. I need to work a lot on my YouTube channel. If I could be half the person you are, I would be very happy. Uh, Advart, I would say when it comes to content, don't overthink it. That's my problem. I overthink it. Just think simple. Just do it. Roll with it. The next, after you make your first video gets put out, you're going to learn something from that video. After 6 years of making content, I still have I am still learning from every video that I am putting out there. How to talk. Maybe I should do this, or ideas to write down. So notebooks are also good. Write down notes and don't just keep making notes and notes and notes. Like have enough notes and say, hey, I'm gonna apply this. And all those baby steps. When I started on YouTube for the longest time, I just did use my cell phone. And then after a while, I tried iMovie. And then I didn't like iMovie. So I thought, well, I already went into digital media, got a degree in it. Why am I not using Premiere Pro? But you don't have to use all this fancy stuff. You can use CapCut to make reels. You can make really cool edits with a lot of free stuff. So don't overthink it. Just have fun, enjoy yourself, and you're going to learn through every step that you do. Thanks for keeping me company while I am listing. I hope you listed a lot of stuff. I listed some this morning, especially some Hoka shoes that I got from the bins. No, actually, I got it from Deseret Industries when I went with Jride and Carry American Arbitrage. We met like 2 months ago, and I finally got them listed. I accidentally put them under some other shoes that I had listed. I don't know how that happened, but I know how that happened. Bad habits, like I've been talking about. You got about 9 now. Sweetness. All right, folks. Andy, salamat, everybody. Salamat means thank you. Muchas gracias. Mahalo, everybody, for your support and continuous just joy that you bring me as well. I'm going to be on in a few days. I don't have a giveaway right now. So I think I'm going to jump back on Thursday and do a giveaway for the end of the month giveaway, which I think Thursday is like I think the 29th. So I think that's going to work. I think I'll make it the end of the month. So the Thursday, I'm going to have another live and I'm going to push again the podcast and continue to do so. But I have a giveaway on that live. So take it easy, folks. I am out of here. Tell your friends about the Reseller Island podcast and also